Alright, this is Mike and Kelsey from Sweetbriar Farm, and we'd like to offer 5 tips for people starting a farm, small farm. So we have 6 acres here. This is our 3rd year with livestock. We've been raising chickens for probably a dozen years or so.
Yeah.
The 3rd year with larger livestock, and some tips that we learned along the way. Tip 1 would be to have your fencing complete before you bring your livestock home, and we recommend a solid perimeter fence using a good quality field fence, or if done properly, high tensile wire would be good. We also run a strand of hot wire along the top and midway through.
You want a fencing that's visible, especially if you have like cattle that can run through a fence if they can't see it. I think one of the best things about the permanent exterior fences we have is that our animals all know where they are and they don't even try to test it.
Yeah, and we learned that the hard way. The first cattle we had, we had a fenced-in paddock for them, but then we let them out into the back here with just a single poly wire, which
we saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, it wasn't a good idea. The one cow got spooked by the sprinkler and ran right through it, and lucky we got him back because Kelsey was ready to get the rifle out and make hamburger. So,
yeah.
But with the electric chargers, we recommend the plug-in type and get a charger that would be bigger than what you think. You want the fence super hot. There are some good solar chargers out there, but the plug-in type, if you can do it, are cheaper.
I would think more reliable too. If you live in a northern climate like we do, where you have stretches without a lot of sunny days or snow covering your solar chargers, the plug-in ones you know aren't going to work.
Yeah. And then we, not necessarily invented, but what we call lasagna fencing. So we have our solid perimeter fence along the perimeter of our property, and then within that we have different areas set up with for paddocks and occasional grazing.
More like an onion, like layers and layers. And then we put our pigs live in the middle of the onion.
Yes.
So if they break out, they're contained and contained still.
Yep. So that's, if they break out of one fence, there's another layer to keep them in.
And that works well the other way too. Like, we have a lot of coyotes that live around our area. So especially during farrowing and kidding, we want to make sure our baby animals are protected. So for a coyote to get at our goats, they'd have to go through 3 layers of fencing, which isn't impossible, but it would take more effort, especially with that hot wire on the bottom.
So that's tip 1.
All right, tip number 2, start with young or freshly weaned livestock. This is really important for temperament. So we thought this was a good example. We've got Greta here. We bought her as a weaned heifer. She was like 5 months old. Temple, next to her, we bought as a bred yearling heifer. So she was about 18 months old when we brought her home.
And she came from a larger beef production, Dexter farm. And
excellent genetics, her pedigree's awesome, the farm is awesome, but she was out in a field with, I don't know, 150 other Dexters, and she wasn't getting handled a lot, whereas Greta came from a small farm where I think like a middle school aged girl did a lot of her halter training and working with her. So Greta came to us already walking on a halter, but the point is, if you get them young, you can train them and acclimate them to your farm.
Yeah, they get used to the activities on your farm.
And the way you do things.
And the next point with this is you don't want to buy somebody else's mistakes. So regardless of the price, cheaper or older proven animals, they're either close to retirement or they should have been put in the freezer a while ago.
There's usually a reason somebody else doesn't want them.
Yep,
and if you're getting started, you don't know enough to identify which are the good, like which is a bargain and which is someone's mistake.
Yeah, they could have a bad temperament or overweight and just not able to breed anymore.
Or they tested positive for some disease and they just don't want to put the animal down.
Yeah, so you can learn from our mistakes. We did that with some of our first breeding Tamworth pigs. We picked up a 800-pound Tamworth sow, which was actually our first YouTube video when we unloaded her.
Yep.
But she was not able to breed anymore, and we turned her into freezer pork. So.
Yeah, but before we did that, we went out and bought a 600-pound Tamworth boar.
Yeah,
so we doubled down on our mistake.
Unproven animal, yeah.
Yeah, it's worth the effort. Buy from good, reputable breeders who are willing to mentor you. Pay the extra money for tested, registered livestock, and put the time into raising them from when they're young so that they behave the way you want them to.
It's also a good idea to go to the farm and visit and meet the animal before. Another mistake we made actually was with Killian. He was a good price. He's a proven bull, but again, he just wasn't handled. He's not really good for a small farm. That's not the reason why we're getting rid of him.
Yeah, the people we bought him from had run an Angus operation for a long time, so to him, I think, or to them, he seemed like a puppy because he was so much smaller and friendlier than an Angus bull.
Yeah. And again, like Kelsey mentioned, be wary of like the free animals because they could be have disease, and you don't want to bring that onto your farm.
Yeah, if someone else is trying to give it away, that's not the kind of animal that is going to earn their keep on your farm, right?
Yep, so learn from our mistakes.
All right, tip number 3, eat your mistakes.
Yep.
So cull animals are animals that don't meet your goals or have bad temperaments. The great thing about ornery animals is they taste delicious.
Yep. You can turn them into sausage or steaks or whatever. So an example of that would be if you watched some of our videos in the last few weeks that we've posted with us trying to capture some of the piglets from one of our Tamworth sows. We have one with a bad temperament. Kelsey wants to put her in the freezer, but I'm not ready to let her go yet. So we don't always follow our own advice, but rather than sell to someone, and be dishonest about her temperament, it's best just to put the animal in the freezer and get rid of those genetics out of your herd.
Those are genetics nobody wants. We also made a similar decision in the past. We started with Mangalitsa pigs for breeding, which we were really excited about because they have such awesome adaptations for cold climates. And they did. They really thrived here in the winter. But the older they got, the pushier and ornerier they got, and they started biting at us and biting at the feed bowls when we were trying to feed them. So we decided.
They were mean to the other pigs too.
That's true. Yeah, they didn't play nice.
They were pushy and beating up on everybody. So.
But they make delicious dinner.
Yep. The bacon was excellent.
Yes.
So again, rather than selling to someone inexperienced or being dishonest, it's best just to put those in the freezer. It's not the best ethical practice to lie to somebody.
Right, and we've already had a lot of repeat customers, even though we're new. People will come back to you and buy from your farm again if you sell them what they think they're getting. They'll come back, but you'll quickly earn a bad reputation if you're selling cull-worthy animals or ornery or injured or sick. Word will get out.
So tip number 4 would be to beg, borrow, barter, and bulk. So it's expensive to get into livestock, and especially if you don't have any infrastructure. This property here, other than the pole barn, we had nothing, no fencing and things like that. So ask your neighbors if they have the tool or know somebody that has the tool that you're looking for to complete a project. Buying in bulk, we buy fence posts and fencing material in bulk. So I think I bought 140 posts and 3 rolls of fencing for about $1,100. So if you went to a local chain farm store, it would have been at least twice that amount for that material.
Whenever we buy from other people, we always look first on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, try and find local breeders, people who have what we want, and then I always ask if they want honey in place of some of the cash because Mike's bees have been prolific, and that's a way for us to buy what we want without draining our bank account. And usually people tell me, yeah, we'd love to get some of your local Michigan honey because that's something that not many people keep bees. So it's usually a win-win.
Yep, and we're able to buy trailer loads of mulch rather than bags of mulch for bedding. Buy feed by the ton, and that allows us to save a lot of money over time. Another thing that you can do is prepay for hay. If you have a hay provider, they often like to be prepaid, and then often they'll even store it for you, which we've had the luck of some farmers doing that for us. And our last tip, tip number 5, would be buy used and build from scrap. So searching Marketplace and Craigslist, local farm auctions will save you a lot of money. So in the previous tip, we had the livestock trailer. We spent $400 on that. We found it on Facebook Marketplace. It needed a few new tires, some paint, but overall for $400 and a couple $100 in tires, it's pretty much a steal. And then building from scrap. So an example here would be our log cabin. It's all reclaimed wood, well, unused wood from an old building project that was never used. So some other items we found on Facebook Marketplace were some cedar fence posts in our south field. Half of it's we used the used posts. I think I got like 40 of them for $60. You can find some good deals on Marketplace. The trailer that we housed some bee equipment in, with the price of lumber recently, it was so high. I paid $150 for that camper that I'm able to keep a lot of material in. And then we had another camper that we bought. We turned it into a chicken coop. We paid $100 for that, gutted it, threw the chickens in there, and then sold it, I think for $175.
Yeah, the chickens loved it. It just didn't work for us to free range them with the gardens.
Our property is too hilly for moving that type of camper around and free ranging our chickens. So yeah, and then Kelsey saw it, broke down on the side of a highway.
I saw it on the side of I-75 a month or two ago. And I knew it was our chicken coop camper because there was a little wood door in the side for the chickens to come in and out. So I hope there's no birds in it.
I hope this helps somebody out if you're getting into starting a farm and getting into livestock. Again, it's expensive. You learn a lot of things along the way, but it also helps to learn from other mistakes. So thanks for watching. See you next time.